The night was quiet, too quiet. Cold winds blew through the broken tents of the refugee camp. Fires had burned there weeks ago, and only ashes remained. The air smelled of smoke, metal, and sadness. In the middle of the silence, a scream broke through. "My mother won't wake up. Please someone help." A young voice cried out. An alien boy, no older than 6, ran barefoot through the dirt. His skin was pale blue, his eyes wide with fear and tears. He stumbled over rocks and broken crates, holding a small blanket around his shoulders. He stopped near a group of aliens sitting around a weak fire. "Please, she's not breathing right, please." The boy begged. One old alien looked at him and shook his head. "She's already gone, child." Another turned away. "There is no point. Leave her." The boy's cries grew louder. His small fists beat against his chest. "Please, anyone." But no one moved. No one cared. Except for one man. Far across the camp, a human soldier named Jake sat beside a rusty container, eating cold rations. His uniform was torn, his boots covered in dust. He had seen many battles, lost many friends. He didn't smile much anymore. But when he heard the boy's voice, his body froze. He stood up slowly. The boy's scream came again, full of panic and pain. Jake dropped his food. Without a word, he grabbed his gear and ran toward the sound. Others watched him go, confused or annoyed. "Why is that human running?" One alien muttered. But Jake didn't stop. His heart beat fast, not from fear, but from something deeper. Something human. He found the boy kneeling beside a pile of old blankets near a broken wall. Under the blankets lay a woman, his mother. She wasn't moving. Jake knelt beside her. "I'm here, let me help." The boy looked up, his face soaked with tears. She won't wake up." Jake gently pulled back the blanket. The alien woman's skin was pale and cold. Her chest rose and fell but barely. She was alive, but fading fast. Jake touched her forehead. "She has a high fever. She's shaking." "She was fine yesterday," the boy said. "She just got tired. Then she fell down and now she won't wake up." Jake looked around. "Where's the medical tent?" "There isn't one," the boy said. "They say she's not worth it. They won't help us." Jake stood up and lifted the woman in his arms. "Come on," he said. "We're going to get her help." The boy followed closely, holding the blanket tighter around himself. They passed more aliens. Some stared, some whispered. No one offered help. Jake's boots hit the ground hard as he marched toward the human zone, a guarded area protected by tall metal fences. At the gate, 2 human guards raised their weapons. "Halt! Who is that?" One shouted. "She's dying," Jake said. "Open the gate." "She's not human," the guard replied. "We can't allow her in." Jake's face turned hard. "Then you'll have to shoot me, because I'm going in." The guards hesitated. One looked at the boy hiding behind Jake's leg. "She's just a civilian, man," the other guard said. "Let him through." The gate opened. Jake ran through the checkpoint, not wasting a second. The human infirmary was a small building made from scrap metal and medical crates. Inside, nurses and doctors were busy treating injured soldiers. Jake pushed through the doors. "I need help," he shouted. "She's burning up. She needs care now." A nurse looked up and gasped. "That's not one of ours." "She's a person," Jake growled. "Help her." The woman was placed on a stretcher. Machines were connected to her. A monitor showed her heart's slow, weak beats. The doctor frowned. "She's not going to last long. We don't even know her biology." Jake stood beside her. The boy clung to his arm. "Please," the boy whispered. "Please save her." The monitor beeped, then flatlined. Everyone froze. The doctor looked at Jake. "She's crashing," he said. Jake didn't move. The screen was black. The room was silent. Then a small breath. The monitor beeped once, then again. She was still alive. Jake closed his eyes and let out a breath. The boy broke into tears. She's breathing. She's breathing. Jake knelt down beside the boy and put a hand on his shoulder. She's a fighter, he said. She's not done yet. But deep in his gut, Jake knew. This was just the beginning. A single drop of water fell onto her cheek. She didn't move. Another drop fell, this one from her son's eyes. He held her hand tightly, whispering, "Please, Mama, wake up." But her hand didn't squeeze back. Behind him, the machines beeped slowly, struggling to keep her alive. The air in the room was thick and heavy, like the breath before a storm. Jake stood by the doorway, watching the boy and his mother. He had seen many wounded humans, aliens, even children. But this was different. This woman didn't just have a fever. She was fading, like a candle almost out of wax. Jake stepped forward and gently placed a warm blanket over her. "She needs warmth," he said to the nurse. "She needs more than that," the nurse replied quietly. "We've done what we can. She's not human. We don't have her medical records, her DNA type, nothing." Jake's voice turned cold. "So you'll just give up?" The nurse looked down. "Orders say no alien civilians in critical care. Too risky. Supplies are low." Jake's fists clenched. The boy looked up at him, his eyes shining with tears and hope. "You won't leave her, right?" Jake knelt beside him. "I won't, I promise." But inside, he wasn't sure how long the woman could survive. She was trembling now, uncontrolled shakes like her body was fighting a war inside. Suddenly, the lights flickered. A loud boom echoed from outside. The building shook, alarms blared. "Warning, perimeter breach." A voice called over the speaker. Jake's instincts kicked in. He grabbed the boy and pushed him under the medical table. "Stay down. Don't move unless I say." The doors burst open as two human guards rushed in. "Jake, we've got movement near the refugee zone." Unknown forces, might be slavers. Jake's eyes darkened. "They're here for her." "What?" She said something before. That they would come for her son. She escaped them. "They're here to finish it," the nurse gasped. "If they attack this place, she won't survive the shock." Jake turned to the doctor. "Keep her alive, no matter what." He grabbed his rifle and headed for the exit. As he left, the boy peeked out and shouted, "Wait!" Jake stopped. "Don't let them take her. Please, you're the only one who helped us." Jake gave him a firm nod. "Then I'll keep helping. I won't let them touch her, I swear." He disappeared into the night. Cut to outside the infirmary. Shadows moved in the dark, figures in cloaks, creeping along the fences. Not animals. Not soldiers, hunters. One whispered in a harsh alien tongue, "The child must not survive." Back inside, the woman twitched again. Her lips moved. The nurse leaned in. She was whispering something, over and over. "Not safe. Not son." The monitor beeped faster. The woman was waking up. To danger. The first time Jake lost a child, it wasn't his fault. But that didn't matter. The memory still lived in his bones like an old wound that never healed. He could still hear her voice sometimes, soft and sweet. "Daddy, are monsters real?" He had smiled back then, said no. But now he knew better, because tonight, monsters were real. And they were coming for a child again. Outside the infirmary, the wind howled. Jake moved through the dark with his rifle ready, every sense alert. The camp was too quiet. Even the fires weren't crackling. He heard it, a strange clicking sound, then another, not footsteps. Claws. Jake hid behind a rusted water tank. He saw them, 5 shadowed figures, cloaked in dark armor, crawling like insects across the rooftops. Their eyes glowed faint red. They weren't just slavers. They were hunters. Elite trackers known across the galaxy for taking what didn't want to be taken. And they wanted the boy. Inside, the boy sat beside his mother again. She still hadn't opened Her eyes. He held her hand and whispered, "The nice man is outside. He'll keep us safe." The nurse adjusted the 4. "Your mama is strong. She's still fighting." Suddenly, the lights blinked again. The nurse froze. "That's not power trouble. Someone's tampering with the grid." The boy whispered, "Are the monsters here?" Before the nurse could answer, a sharp hiss came from outside the window. Then silence. Back on the roof, Jake raised his rifle. Slowly, he didn't fire. Not yet. He remembered a voice from years ago. A commander yelling, "You care too much, Jake. That'll get you killed one day." Maybe. But not today. He reached for his cum. "Command, this is Sergeant Jake Walters. We've got incoming hostiles, Class 3 slavers, 5 or more. Requesting backup at Sector 9 Infirmary." The radio crackled. "No response." Jake muttered under his breath. "Figures." He looked toward the infirmary. He could see the boy through the cracked window, tiny, terrified, holding his mother's hand like she was his whole world. And Jake made a decision. He wouldn't run. He wouldn't wait. He would fight. He moved fast, slid down a cable, landed behind one of the slavers without a sound. His blade flashed. One down. But now they knew. The other slavers turned. Their weapons came out, glowing green whips and spiked nets. Jake ducked, rolled, and fired. The first shot hit one in the chest gun, but the others moved like shadows. One jumped from above and knocked Jake back. He hit the wall hard. Blood in his mouth. His ribs hurt. Maybe cracked, but he stood up, because he had made a vow. Back inside, the boy gasped, "He's hurt." The nurse looked out. Oh no. Jake was bleeding, surrounded. But he smiled. "You're not taking that boy," he said, teeth red with blood. One slaver hissed, "He is marked. His mother escaped. That makes him property." Jake raised his rifle. "Try and take him." "I dare." "You." Flashback hit him again. His daughter coughing in his arms. The medevac too slow. He had begged. No one came. But now, he was the one coming. He was the one not turning away. He charged. Bullets flew. A blade sliced across his arm. Still, he didn't stop, because this wasn't just a rescue. This was redemption. She was floating. Not in space. Not in water. In darkness. The alien mother felt nothing but cold and fear. Then, through the black silence, she heard it. A child crying, "Mama, don't leave me." Her chest ached. Her fingers twitched. Somewhere, far away, something pulled. Her back, a voice that mattered. Back in the infirmary, chaos had begun. Jake stumbled in, bleeding from his arm and shoulder, but alive. He slammed the door shut behind him and dropped a metal bar across it. "They're coming," he said. "No more running." The nurse looked terrified. "What do we do?" "We hold this room," Jake growled. "They want the boy and the boy and the boy and the boy. Mother, we give them neither." The boy clung to his mother's side. Her face was pale. Her chest rose and fell, but barely. "She's slipping again," the nurse cried. "Her heart rate is crashing." Jake rushed to her side. "Do something." "We don't have the right tools. Her body is rejecting our medicine. She's not human." "She's alive," Jake barked. "Keep her that way." Suddenly, the machine's FLATLINED. No heartbeat. "No breath. No," the boy screamed. "Mama." The nurse froze. Jake didn't. He jumped forward and began CPR, pressing down hard on her chest. Over and over. 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe. He shouted. The nurse moved into action, grabbing a defibrillator. "Clear." Shock. Nothing. Again. Shock. A weak beep. Then another. Heartbeat. But her breathing was shallow, and her skin cold as ice. "She needs something more," the nurse said. "Her body's shutting down." The boy climbed onto the bed, lying beside his mother. He wrapped his small arms around her. "I'm here, Mama. I'm warm. Please stay." In that moment, something changed. Her hand moved. Fingers curled weakly. Around his eyes fluttered open. She saw the ceiling, then the boy's face, then Jake, bloodied and breathing hard. You came back? She whispered. I said I would, Jake replied. She smiled, then passed out again, but this time she was stable. Suddenly, the door shook. Boom. Jake pointed his rifle. Stay down. A voice from outside snarled, Give us the boy, and we'll leave the rest. Jake shouted back, Come and take him, you cowards. No reply, just the sound of claws on metal. The nurse pulled the boy into a corner and handed Jake a small metal tube. Smoke bomb. Buy you 10 seconds. Jake nodded. Good, because I only need 5. Flashback. Jake holding his daughter's body. Rain pouring. Whispers. Too late, soldier. Him screaming at the sky. Now he stood tall. He looked at the boy. You're not dying today, the boy whispered. Are you scared? Jake gave a half smile, terrified. But I won't stop. The door cracked. Smoke filled the air. Jake moved. Like lightning, shots fired. Slavers screamed. And in that small, cold room, a human fought death itself twice. First for the mother's heart. Now for the boy's life. Asterisk. She opened her eyes and saw fire. Not real fire, but memories. She was running, holding her son. Behind her, the sky was burning, ships falling. Screams. Echoing. She stumbled. Fell. Chains on her wrist. A voice behind her growling, You were born to serve. You will never be free. Then darkness. She gasped awake, eyes wide. Her body shook. She reached out. Easy, Jake said gently, catching her hand. You're safe, for now. The alien mother blinked. Her mind was spinning. Where is my son? Right here, the boy said, holding her hand. His smile was small, but full of light. I didn't leave you, Mama. Tears filled her eyes. You stayed. Jake knelt beside the bed. He stayed. I fought. You lived. She looked at Jake for a long time. You're human, last I checked. She gave a weak laugh, then coughed hard. Jake passed her a small water pouch. After a few sips, her voice returned. But her face turned serious. You need to know something, she whispered. They won't stop, Jake nodded. Because of your son? She looked down. No. Because of me. The nurse watched from the corner, silent. Jake leaned forward. What did you do? She hesitated, then spoke. I escaped. Escaped from who? The syndicate, she said. I was one of their breeding assets. Jake's face hardened. A slave, she nodded slowly. I was chosen for my genes. My strength, my beauty. They kept me locked, watched, controlled. She looked at her son. But then, I had him, and everything changed. Jake frowned. Why? He's just a child. No, she whispered. He's not just a child. He was born without permission. And he's healthy, perfect. That makes him a threat. Jake's mind raced. To who? To the whole system. If others learn that I had him outside there, control, that I escaped with him, they'll lose power. She gripped the edge of the bed. They will burn this camp to the ground to keep that secret buried. Jake stood slowly, his jaw tight. So they want him dead. And me. She said, they'd rather kill us than let the truth spread. The nurse gasped. That's why they're here. Jake nodded grimly. Now I know what I'm fighting for. Outside, the wind shifted. Slavers regrouped. A shadowy figure stepped forward. Taller, wearing gold armor. A commander. Bring me the child, he ordered. Alive. The mother. Dead. Inside the infirmary, Jake stared at the boy. Your name? He asked. The boy looked surprised. No one ever asked me before. Jake smiled. I'm asking. My name is Loro, the boy said, and my mama's name is Tyla. Jake stood tall. Well, Loro, Tyla, I'm going to protect you both. Tyla's voice was weak but firm. Why? We're nothing to you. Jake looked her in the eyes. Because no one protected my daughter. I couldn't save her. But I can save you. He walked to the window and looked out into the night. I made a vow, and I don't break my vows. Suddenly, the walls shook again. Another blast. This one closer. The gold-armored slaver was coming, and he wasn't alone. The sky turned red. Not from sunset, but from the flames. The syndicate had arrived, and they were burning everything. Tents, crates, lives, screams echoed across the refugee camp as fire swallowed the night. Jake watched from the infirmary window. His jaw clenched. Shadows moved through the smoke. Tall, armored slavers dragging people out. One by one, he turned back. We have to move, now. Tyla sat up with help, still weak but alert. I can walk. Just not far, Jake nodded. I'll carry you if I have to. Little Loro grabbed his mother's hand. I'm not scared, Jake smiled. You're braver than most grown men. Suddenly a loud bang. The front door shook. Then a voice, cold and sharp. Hand over the child, or everyone dies. Jake cursed under his breath. Time's up. He looked at the nurse. There's a tunnel beneath the med station, right? She nodded. Old supply path leads to the cliffside. Jake grabbed a metal crowbar and lifted the hidden floor panel. Let's go. They dropped into darkness. The tunnel was narrow, cold, and smelled of rust. Water dripped from the ceiling. The only light came from Jake's wrist lamp. Tyla leaned on Jake as they moved. Every step was painful, but she didn't stop. Behind them, Loro walked quietly, holding the edge of Jake's jacket. Then a sound click. Click. Footsteps. Not theirs. Jake turned off the light. They froze. Something or someone was down here with them, up above. The gold-armored syndicate commander stepped into the infirmary. His red eyes scanned the room. Empty. Except for the nurse. He walked to her slowly. Where are they? She said nothing. He raised his hand and electricity crackled around his fingers. Back in the tunnel, Jake signaled for silence. He raised his rifle. Moved forward. Slow. A sudden hiss. From the shadows a slaver jumped. Jake fired one shot. Clean hit, but more footsteps followed. They found the tunnel, he said. They ran. Tyla stumbled. Jake caught her. I can't slow you down, she said. Leave me. Jake didn't even look at her. Not a chance. Loro shouted. The light. I see light. Up ahead a small door. Rusted but open. Freedom. But then Loro screamed. He was pulled back. Slaver had grabbed him from behind, sharp claws on his shoulder. Jake spun, aimed and shot, but missed in the dark. The slaver vanished into the shadows with the boy. Loro! Tyla cried. Jake turned to her. Get to the exit. I'll get him back. She shook her head. No. Don't. But Jake was already running into the dark. Inside the tunnel, Jake followed the sound of footsteps and Loro's cries. Let me go. Jake's heart pounded. He couldn't lose another child. Not again. Then he saw them. The slaver, dragging Loro toward a shaft that led up back to the enemy ship. Jake shouted, Hey! The slaver turned, and Jake tackled him from behind. They struggled. Teeth, blood, screams. Jake stabbed with his combat knife, again and again. The slaver collapsed. Jake pulled Loro close. You okay? Loro was crying but nodded. I knew you'd come. Jake carried him back. At the cliffside exit, the hatch opened. Cool wind hit their faces. Tyla stood there, tears in her eyes as she saw them. Jake handed Loro to her and smiled. Still. Think I'd leave him? Tyla shook her head. You're insane. Maybe, Jake said, but I keep my promises. Below the cliff, a hidden human patrol spotted them and waved. They were safe for now. But Jake looked back at the smoke rising. Behind them, this isn't over. Tyla touched his arm. Then let's end it together. Asterisk, the stars above were quiet, but the fire behind them still burned. Jake stood at the cliff's edge, the wind in his hair, watching the night sky. His rifle was strapped to his back. His wounds were bleeding again, but he didn't care. He had the boy. He had the mother. He had done what no one else would. He stayed. Behind him, Tyla lay on a makeshift bed made of rescue blankets. Her eyes were open, but her face was pale. Loro sat beside her, holding her hand tightly, refusing to sleep. "Don't leave me again, Mama," he whispered. "I won't," she said weakly. "Not this time." Jake crouched beside them. "Medical. Help is on the way. We called it in." Tyla looked at him. "Even if we live." "They'll come again," Jake nodded. "That's why I'm not leaving." "What?" she whispered. "I'm staying with you, both of you." Loro's eyes widened. "But you're a soldier. You'll get in trouble." Jake smiled. "I've been in trouble since the day I picked up a gun." Suddenly, a sound filled the air. Engines, big ones. They looked up. A syndicate warship hovered above the burning camp, its massive shape blotting out the stars. Spotlights beamed down across the forest. Search drones flew out like angry insects. "They're not done yet," Jake muttered. Tyla grabbed his arm. "You can't fight them alone." "I'm not alone," he said. "I've got a reason to fight now." Flashback. His daughter's photo. Her last smile. The grave. Silence. His fists clenched. I wasn't there for her. Now. He was here, and that made all the difference. Jake radioed command. "This is Sergeant Jake Walters. Enemy flagship overhead. Request immediate air support. 2 civilians. At my location, I will hold the line." No response. Just static. He looked at Tyla. "Looks like it's just us again." She nodded slowly. "Then let's make them regret coming." Jake set traps. Mines, smoke charges, even a few sharp sticks. He positioned Tyla and Loro deep in a rock crevice and gave her a flare. "Light this if it gets bad, if I fall. Then run. You won't fall," she said softly. Jake gave a tired smile. Been a long time since anyone believed that. The first wave came fast. Black armored slavers dropped from ships. 10 of them. Jake moved like a ghost shooting, rolling. RELOADING. One by one. They fell, but one reached the crevice. Loro screamed. The flare shot into the sky. Jake turned and sprinted, ignoring the pain. He tackled the slaver off the cliff's edge. They fell together. Jake grabbed a ledge at the last second. The slaver wasn't so lucky. Tyla reached down, grabbed his arm, and pulled with all her strength. He made it back up, breathing hard, alive. "You're stronger than you look," he said. "I'm a mother," she replied. "We lift the world if we have to." Then lights in the sky, human ships. Backup had arrived. Jets soared past, blasting the syndicate ship. Missiles, fire, explosions. The warship began to fall. The camp below cheered. The syndicate was running. Later, when the sky was quiet again, Jake sat beside the fire with Loro and Tyla. She rested her head on his shoulder. "I still don't understand," she whispered. "Why did you help us?" Jake stared into the flames. "Because no one helped me when I needed it most. And because I saw something in you both." He looked at Loro. "A future." The boy leaned into him. "Are you gonna leave now?" Loro asked. Jake shook his head. "I already did my job. Now I choose to stay." Weeks later, in a quiet valley, far from war, a small house stood. Inside, laughter echoed. A mother stirring soup. A boy chasing a small pet around. And outside, Jake, fixing the roof, smiling for the first time in years. He wasn't just a soldier now. He was family. He was home.